I'm so excited that here we are with the amazing Jodie Nevid. Jodie, say something too, isn't it? It'll bring you up on the screen.
Hello, how are you, everybody? It's so nice to be here. And thanks, Sally, for your epic efforts in pulling this off. 2 days. You still got a voice?
Well, it's been a bit longer than that. But yeah, I mean, yes, 2 days of chat. But, you know, my voice is gone. But it's been an absolute pleasure because, seriously, the opportunity to connect with such amazing women and on such amazing wisdom and learnings and tips and you know, I feel like we're doing something very good here for many women, and it's just an absolute joy. So I would like to introduce you. Just going to take a sip. Excuse me.
Yeah. Take a sip.
Jodie, I'm so excited to have to see us out of the summit, because you are the fairy godmother for women in business. Not just me who's saying this. This is your title. Yeah. And this year, and forever, but certainly this year, we could all do with a little bit of Jodie magic sprinkled over us. I know that I can't wait. You are an incredible woman. You help startups, you coach and design, you help people to launch and fill their high value program in very quick space of time. Mm-hmm. You are a serial entrepreneur, lifestyle business coach. You're passionate about helping burnt out leaders transition out of the corporate world and into their dream business, which is why I'm so excited that you're here, because it's so relevant to us. Because I feel like, excuse me, I feel like, and I'm sure we'll talk about this, one of the things that's happened this year is that many women have had a bit of a realization, whether they've been pushed or not by their circumstances. Perhaps they've lost jobs, perhaps their partners have lost jobs, perhaps they realize that they cannot sustain their job while homeschooling, perhaps they have realized, why the hell are they doing the job when the world's coming to a close anyway? You know, like we've had everything thrown at us, haven't we, this year? And I think a lot of people have made the leap or been pushed into at least wanting to start the business of their dreams, and perhaps starting the business of their dreams. And now I've spoken to lots of women who, if that is you, over the last few months has been very exciting, but now here we are in Christmas, school holidays in Australia, Christmas time, and now some of those women are getting a little bit frantic about the things that they've just started and how they fit it in with life, which is hurling by us. So I'm so happy you're here.
Yeah, thank you.
You tell us a bit of your background. Yep. So please tell us how you got to where you are. How did you become? Were you born with a magic wand, or did you?
No, I don't think anyone's born with a magic wand, but we are all born magical. I really do believe that.
Agree.
I think that the magic is in people. And I love the fairy godmother title, because what the fairy godmother does for Cinderella is she takes stuff that's laying around the garden already. The pumpkin turns into the beautiful coach, and the rats become the coachman. And, you know, I think a lot of stuff lays around inside of us that's got so much potential that lies dormant. And that's why I love the title for me, the fairy godmother, because I'm really renowned for helping people achieve their impossible goals. I was born to a very entrepreneurial family, and when I say that, it was actually, I'm a shotgun baby. My mum and dad were 18 and 19 when they fell pregnant with me, and it's like, crap, we got to get married. And so boom, mum's pregnant down the aisle. The wedding was in my nana and papa's backyard, and it was actually my nana and papa, who were 40 and 42 when I was born, financially free, and had a huge conditioning over me. So my papa was a very hard worker from the age of, I think, 10 or 11. He worked. He was from the generation where he walked 1,000,000 miles with the horse to get to school and whatever he did. But anyway, he came across the book Think and Grow Rich when he was about 18 years old. And I actually inherited that book. I've got his dog-eared earliest version of Think and Grow Rich. And he read that book from cover to cover. And he said to my Nana, because they were dating since they were 14 and 16, and he said to Nana, this is going to be us. We are going to be financially free by the time we are 40. And so then he did that. He did property, he did shares, he did investing, he did businesses. He was a true entrepreneur until he passed away. When they were 40 and 42, I came along, I was born. And so I just grew up in this conditioning environment where Nana and Papa traveled the world. They always had an abundance of time for family. They always had new and exciting projects on the go. They lived in a beautiful house. It's not like they drove limousines or anything, but it was just a lovely house with a swimming pool and a tennis court. And they were lovely, normal people. And I had this collection. Every time Nana would travel overseas, she would bring back a doll from each country for all of the granddaughters and a pewter mug for all of the grandsons. And so in my bedroom, I had this shelf where I had dolls from all over the country in it. And I always, from a very, very early age, decided I wanted to live my life like Nana and Papa. I wanted Nana and Papa's life. And Papa used to say to me all the time, so I was an arty-farty child. I loved to draw. I loved to make. I was a maker. And everything I made, Papa would say, oh, this is the best birthday card I've ever had, Jodie. You should start a business selling these. Or you'd go around to Nana and Papa's and you'd get out the old-fashioned blender. Papa loved to drink milkshakes, and you'd make him a milkshake and he'd guzzle it back and he'd say, oh, this is the best milkshake I've ever had. You should start a business selling these. And so if you can imagine growing up being conditioned with that, you should start a business doing this. That's how I was raised. So when my friends were all cramming for uni exams and thinking, what's my career going to be? I'm dropping out of high school. I won a scholarship to study visual arts and I started a business making drums and pottery instruments.
Wow.
Yeah. And traveled the world, collecting my own dolls from around all of the countries.
Wow. So do you still have that business, or you transitioned into teaching other women how to do the same thing you did?
Well, great question, Sally. So that business got shut down in 2006, sorry. So I got married, had the child, did that business for many years, went and traveled overseas for 4 years, came back, started that business again, which was fantastic. Then got divorced and got into a de facto relationship. Long story short, he and I bought a brand new house. I put my son in expensive school. We were both business owners. And after 2 years of us being together, we separated. And that became the catalyst for me going, crap, I need to keep the house. But I have this business. I have all these investment properties as a single mum. And I now have these stupidly expensive private school fees. I need to go get a real job. So what I did was I sold off my investment properties so that I could buy the house, because we'd just bought a brand new house. I shut down my business making the drums and percussion instruments because there was just a lot of pressure going on there with that. And I just got into the corporate world. And I was lucky because I was a speaker at the time. Because of the success of my business, I got asked to speak on stages a lot. So I landed a job in a leadership training center, and it was great. I ended up working my way up the ladder. I became the state manager for SA in Western Australia, 130 grand a year, traveling all over the country. But as a single mum, probably about the 3rd year into the business as an employee, I was burnt out. I was highly strung. I was a workaholic Monday to Friday. I was a social alcoholic Saturday and Sunday. Friday night, really, because my son always went to his dad's. And so I just became the epitome of this stressed out corporate woman trying to climb the ladder, addicted to success, but really hating her life on the inside, looking for love in all the wrong places. Yeah. And so I guess that's what led me to this business. I decided I got to get out of this. I had a bit of a wake up moment. I was at a leadership conference that I was emceeing. We had Janine Ellis from Boost Juice, familiar with Janine Ellis. She was one of the speakers. We had John Anderson, the founder of Kentucky Tours. We had all these epic speakers and entrepreneurs, and my job was to introduce them and then be the MC for the day. And as I was sitting there listening to these people who I admired in business, all these feelings started to come up about who I used to be in business, and thinking, why am I doing the thing Papa said never to do? I'm working hard to make someone else rich. He always said, make money work for you so you don't spend your whole life working for it. Don't make someone else rich. Make yourself rich doing what you love. And all these flashes of Papa's voice started coming up for me again. And I'm thinking, what am I doing here? And then there was this one speaker who got up and he talked about Snow White syndrome. Now, have you heard about Snow White syndrome, Sally? Has anyone heard of Snow White syndrome? It's very interesting. I'd love to know in the chat if any of you have heard of Snow White syndrome. So it comes from a book called The Emotional Capitalist. Jenny's going, nope. And it's written by a man called Martin Newman, who's a psychologist. And he says that we are all conditioned with these same stories, you know, Cinderella, Snow White, Superman, Batman and Robin. And in all of these stories, what's the common theme?
Well, the prince comes and saves you.
Yeah, there's a happy ending because we get rescued. And so as the guy was talking about this, he said, we go through life and we take a bite of the poison apple, the shitty thing that happens to us. And at an unconscious level, we lay down and we wait. And we wait for things to get better. We wait for Monday to come around. We wait for someone to leave the job, for someone to come, for things to just resolve themselves. And as he was talking about it, I started to get the creeps, and I still get goosebumps today thinking about that moment, because I was thinking, wow, I used to travel the world. I used to do what I love for a living. Since I separated and started working full time, my house just started to become this dumping ground, and I was just waiting to meet a guy. You know, I had my son's wardrobe door had fallen off. It sat in the hallway for like 3 years. I'm thinking, when I meet a guy, he'll fix that. When I meet a guy, I'll go traveling again. All my girlfriends, single mums, and we're like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to take the kids to Bali? Wouldn't it be nice to get back into investing? We were just waiting for these. We didn't know we were doing it, but we were waiting for these guys to come along. So I woke up because the speaker said, for those of you who are laying on the slab waiting for Prince Charming to come and save the day, wake up. He's not coming. And it was good for me because I left that conference on what can only be described as a conference high. Everyone knows what a conference high feels like. It's a good feeling. Yes, I can change the world. I'm going to change my world today. And I started a goals club. And the goals club was just 7 girlfriends, me and 6 others. We met once a month. We decided to stay awake, set goals, sort our life out. And we did that for 4.5 years. Now, over the time, my life started to change significantly. And as a speaker who spoke on stages in women's conferences around leadership most of the time, I started sharing stories of the Goals Club. And women would come running up to me going, how do I get in the club? How do I get in the club? And so I went back to the Goals Club girls with Papa's voice in my head and said, we could start a business doing this. And so that was really how the 7 Effect was born. And originally it was created to help people sort out their lives, to help them design the life of their dreams. Our mantra is live life by design, not by default. What happened over time is I got called back into the corporate world to do leadership training, but I said, I'll do it in a 7 Effect way, which means it's leadership with a twist. And it's leadership that's not about rules, policies, and procedures. It's leadership that's about human behavior and psychology and connection and communication. And then what happened by the 3rd year of business, clients started saying to me, well, you know, my ultimate goal, Jodie, is to do what you've done. I want to leave my job and I want to start a business like you have. How do I do that? And so that's how I got into the lifestyle business coaching. And now I really specialize in helping women turn what they know into a viable 6-figure business where they can be a coach, a consultant, a contractor, an educator, whatever it might be that their expertise is. We basically package that up into one high value program that they can become famous for, and they have a beautiful handful of clients and they make 150 to 300 grand a year, and they do what they love for a living.
I love your story because it is the epitome of the hero story a little bit.
It is.
You've gone full circle.
I do. When we teach the hero's journey, it's like, oh my God, that's totally my story.
But many of us just stay in it, recognizing that we're in it, but you've gone full circle. So you grew up, as you said, it was all you knew was to start a business doing what you loved.
Yeah.
You got sidetracked by the prince.
Yeah, I did.
You got a real prince. You got a vote of real princeness.
Yeah.
And then, you went off, you fell off your road.
Yeah.
You had a moment where somebody reminded you. I wonder if that guy was hearing your papa's voice there on the stage and booming it back to you.
Yeah.
What are you doing? And then you kind of made the decision.
Yes.
That you wanted to do it, but and it happened for you.
Yeah.
I love your story because there's so much goodness in there about how the world works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who we want to be.
Yeah.
And then things conspire to get us there.
Absolutely. And there's a beautiful quote about that, Sally. Do you know that it's Johann Wolfgang Goethe's quote about commitment, about how when one absolutely commits to something, the universe will conspire in all magical and wonderful ways to have that person be able to fulfill their dream.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fantastic. I love it. And now you help women do the same. So I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So you've basically systemized your journey. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Or is the 7 effect more about getting, but getting strategic and procedural about goal setting? Did it evolve out of the goal setting, or was it actually your journey of how you turned that into a business?
Yeah, great question. It's actually a bit of both. So the Goals Club was a formula that we made up on the fly, and it just so happened that it worked. And I'm a big believer that we have to experiment and throw a lot of spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. But once we find the thing that sticks, we can then look back and go, all right, what is it that made it stick? Why did it work? And so that's essentially how the 7 Effect content was born. I started asking by women, how do I join the club? How did you achieve all this stuff? And I changed everything from quitting smoking and stopping being a binge alcoholic and having terrified fears of dating men. And, I had a lot of personal baggage going on. I lost a lot of weight. I just started to look and feel better. And so I looked at, all right, what are the things that I did? And so I looked at the areas of life, and we call them the 7 elements of life. And we set goals around each of those areas. And so I created content around the 7 elements of life and the areas that people fall down and the pattern or the trap. So there's a system there.
Yeah.
The same with leadership. We have the 7 elements of leadership. And it's from me being in the corporate world going, where do leaders fall down again and again and again? There's no randomness. There's no surprises. The patterns are obvious. You study psychology and understand human behavior is incredibly predictable. And then the same with lifestyle business. I started teaching people lifestyle business, and I looked at, right, where are the traps? Where do people fall down? We created the 7 elements of leadership, and we have teachings on how people do all of those things evolving out.
Yeah, amazing. So you said something in there. So one of the things I teach, as you know, is Dr. Joe Dispenza's work.
Yeah.
And he says, and it's so true, you can't change until you change yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you just described, your personality. So in Dr. Joe's words, your personality creates your personal reality.
Yes.
So much as you want to fight that truth, it's true. So much as you want to break it down, if you continue with the habits and the habits of thought as much as the habits of behavior, patterns of behavior, if you continue doing, thinking, feeling the way you habitually think and feel, and you're going to get the same results.
100%. Absolutely. And I absolutely agree with what Dr. Joe Dispenza says. I love his work, by the way, because it's so true.
Yeah. So when you made the decision to change your life, you didn't continue with your binge drinking on the weekends and the waiting for the prince. I'm guessing you probably fixed that door as well. You changed your habits, you changed your personality, and then personal reality change. So I think that's such an important message,
Yes.
hearing the truth in different ways as well, because it just brings it home even more powerfully for more people. So
Yeah.
he said that. Yeah. His work is amazing because it is transformational. You got to start with yourself.
Yes. And it's a great thing. And I love that you said, I'm guessing you probably fixed that door as well. You know what? When I did wake up and decide I had a good crack at it and I couldn't fix it, so I ended up hiring someone. But the other thing is in our goals club. So when we started the goals club, Sally, my life was a mess. It was a certifiable mess. And my house had become a dumping ground in terms of I had this beautiful house, but I was kind of escaping it by being out at work or out at the pub. And that was just, and so the dining table was really just where all our laundry was. You know, it comes off the line and it never goes in the drawers. You just put it there till you wear it. And in the backyard, my ex that had left, you know, and I had a lot of issues because he treated on me with his ex, and I had all this baggage around that. And so he was the gardener that did all this beautiful landscape, and I just let the garden go to rack and ruin. And so when we started the Goals Club, my big major goal was to get the lawns and the weeds taken care of. And you know, that goal sat on my goals list for 3 months in Goals Club until the girls were like, Jodie, just book the freaking ring Jim's mowing and get it done. And so finally I did. And then 3 years. So this is the beautiful thing about Goals Club. The goals start so small. It's like mow the lawns, put your laundry away, clean out the Tupperware cupboard and throw away the things that don't have the lids. You know, there's all this clutter in our lives and we tidy that up. But then what happens is the next year I'm setting goals like spend a month in Italy by myself, because I started to think, I mean, I'm the hopeless romantic, Sally. Maybe the man of my dreams is in Italy somewhere.
You seen Shirley Valentine?
Yes, I have. Yeah. I love movies like that. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I think it's important for us all to know that it all starts from the inside, and we actually have a wheel that puts all of our elements together, and it demonstrates. I don't know if I can share my screen if you want me to show that, or
yeah, I'll make you co-host and then you can.
Yeah, and I'll just show people quickly what I'm talking about, and I'm happy to share resources with people if they want things. Okay, let's just share my screen. So I'll just show you this. So this is just an overview of the elements of life, leadership, and lifestyle business. So people come to me and they go, I want to be a successful entrepreneur, Jodie. I want to make 6 figures a year. I want to be a mumpreneur. I go, okay, great. So these are the 7 elements of lifestyle business. You've got to have ambition. If you don't want it, don't bother, because the truth is things are going to happen. You're going to be challenged. The second thing we need is faith. You need to have a deep and unwavering belief in your ability to succeed. You need to commit to the fact that you know you can and you will do things. You need to create a structure and so forth. I won't go into them all in detail, but I'm happy to if anyone wants help with that afterwards, or they can look on my YouTube. I talk people through a check-in. We do a traffic light system on this when I'm working with clients. But here's the thing I wanted to make a point about. What people don't recognize is that to be a leader in a business, to build a successful business, like, you know, to create a summit and do the work that you do with your clients, one must become a leader. And so Sally needs to know how to be a leader. Jodie needs to know how to be a leader. Any woman in business needs to not only understand business, but she needs to understand leadership. So we say behind your business is your leadership. But here's what I've come to learn about leaders is beneath the surface of every great leader is a life that is not stressful and messy. And so if we want to get to the top and build a great business, a lot of the time we need to reverse engineer it and go, let's design the life of your dreams. Let's build you to be the leader that's required to achieve that life. And now let's build the ideal business that becomes the vehicle that can fund and create that life for you. So that's kind of how it works.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Jodie. And I know we're going to share all your details and We can. I know that you've got some amazing resources that we can all go and have a look at and connect with you. Thank you so much for that. There's so many things you said I want to pick up on, and I also love talking with you because there's so many parallels with my work, but we talk in a different language. So you said earlier, and I want to go back to a point you said earlier where you said that was it. It was a real. I have it as an analogy, but you had it as a real thing where your ex would look after your lawns and your landscape gardens, and so you just left it like everything else in your life, and then you decided. But we have this analogy. It's one of Dr. Joe's analogies. It's in his book Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, where he uses the analogy of gardening for your mind.
Yes.
When we're making a change, so back to that whole, if you want to make a change in your life, you got to make the change here first. When you're making a change, what are you doing? Well, neurologically, you've got to prune some of those old things, synapses, thoughts that are related to the emotions and the actions that you take. You got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of some of them. That's how you change a habit. So the analogy of the gardening is awesome because he's like, when you're gardening, you can't stick a load of beautiful plants in a mess.
Yeah.
You got to take time to pull the weeds out, get rid of the rocks, dig the earth, cultivate the area that you're going to stick the new stuff in. And then when the ground's fertile and ready, then you can plant in those new thoughts, those new synapses. And so I love that as your journey took off, when you made those decisions, kind of a side effect was literally clearing up the garden. Like you're clearing up the garden outside, you're clearing up the garden inside. And I love then as well that you've just said, the leadership piece, absolutely. So this is what I've come to realize in my work. It's all about leadership. It's all about leadership. It's leadership over yourself. That's how I see it. It's how, and leadership to me is how do you show up?
Yes.
Who are you in every moment?
Yeah.
Do you do what you're going to say you do?
Yeah.
Do you promise and not fulfill it? Do you stretch yourself with goals, or do you push yourself?
Yeah.
For me, that when you said, but once you get the leadership piece, you don't have a kind of side effect is that you don't have a messy house or a messy.
Correct.
Around my place right now, I'm clearly not completely there. You don't have messy. It's the same thing, isn't it? It's like cleaning out the stuff, pulling out the old stuff to make room for the new. So I just loved those two analogies you had.
Yeah, thank you, Sally. And you'll be surprised to know the partner now. So I did end up, there is a happy ending. Of course, I did find love. He is a landscaper as well. And he has the most spectacular garden, like a proper beautiful, he does like super high end, the most gorgeous gardens.
I love that. That's perfect, isn't it? That's perfect. And I bet you didn't meet him when you were in your mess looking for the Prince Charming. I bet when you had owned your own leadership over your own sovereignty and power as a woman, and decided that you didn't need him.
That's exactly what happened, Sally. And it's amazing because when I was looking desperately for love in all the wrong places, of course, I wasn't meeting any quality men. I was falling crazily in love while I was in a drunken stupor with very good looking but highly dysfunctional men. And anyway, it was only when I stopped, I really did the work on myself from the inside out. And then we launched the business, The 7 Effect, in 2014. And it was about 4 months after we launched our business that I met him. So my year of 2014 was epic. Quit the job, launched the business, met the guy, made over $164,000 in our first year. And it was just all of that. We're committed. The universe is conspiring to allow you to go forth and make it happen.
Awesome. So with that, you had a good year in 2014.
Yeah.
I would like to encourage us all to consider the possibility that we could have our year of our dreams next year.
I believe we will.
Year that's gone past as a little an anomaly that, for me, in my opinion anyway, it's been fantastic because it's shaped up and it's moved us and it's made us realize what we really want to do. Like I have lots of, I think about this year favorably.
I've loved this year. Yeah.
I think about this year favorably. 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 I But for those people who have just had a really tough, challenging year, let's make next year the best year ever. So you work with ladies all the time. What are your top tips for us to make that happen for our community, Jodes?
So remember Wham, George Michael, and do you remember the t-shirts, Choose Life?
Yes.
I have those in many colors. And one of my favorite things is just choose life. Choose every day, choose every thought, choose every moment, and know that when you're not consciously choosing, you're choosing anyway.
Yeah.
And so I think go get yourself a Wham t-shirt and just freaking choose life, because the choices are yours to make. But what happens is, because of the way our brain is hardwired, we will unconsciously make the same choices we've been making for the last 3 years, 5 years, 10 years on autopilot. And then what happens is we start to believe that we are stuck. And the reality is no one is truly stuck. We are all free. We can all freaking choose life. Yes. Sonia says, freaking choose life. I love it. Yeah, go for it, Sonia. Choose your life, my friend. And we can design the life to be however we want to be. My next tip would be step up, be visible. And this is the leadership space, because I think a lot of the time women tread carefully through life and business because they're empathetic creatures, and because they don't like to offend and upset people, and because they have huge hearts and they like to look after other people. I've spent a lot of time in business communities with men and with women, and ones that are men or women, and ones that are blended. And what I notice is women are awfully uncomfortable talking about big numbers in business. I'm generalizing. I know there are women who are not, but many women are. And I would say, women, step up and know that you are allowed. Give yourself permission to lead with ambition and enthusiasm and passion, and own your mission. Don't play life small and safe. There's a beautiful quote by Abraham Maslow, who created the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I love this quote. It's one of my favorite. And he says, we are always either stepping back into safety or forwards into growth. Yeah. And I think women put a lot of emphasis on creating safe spaces. And this is why when women come to my programs, I openly say, I'm not making a big deal about this being a safe space. This is a growth space, my friends. You are safe. I'm not going to hurt you, and no one's going to die during this program. Safety is here. We need to grow beyond the need to feel safe. We need to step up. We need to step out. We need to lead our missions. So I would say, give yourself permission to step up. And then thirdly, I would say, create your freedom. Like if you, when I work with women in business, they come to me going, I want to build a business. And I always ask the same questions. The very first thing we do is we use a tool that I've created to crunch their numbers. And I say, how much money do you want to make? Oh, I don't know, Jodie. I've never thought about that. How many days a week do you want to be working? Oh, I don't know. I guess this. And so it's like, create your blueprint for freedom, and actually find that blueprint through the questions that you can ask yourself. How much money do you want to make? How many hours do you want to be working? What other lifestyle choices do you want? For example, my blueprint is I work Tuesday to Thursday, 3 days a week. I make 6 figures a year. For me, 200 grand a year is the current goal. That's for me personally. The business making $1 million is the goal there. I take all the school holidays off, and I travel overseas every year. 4 dot points. That's my blueprint. So that's my final thing, is find your freedom blueprint.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. Thank you, Jodie. And it's a good time of year to do it.
Yeah, totally.
And I want to come back to point 2, which I think is incredible. Like, it's the permission to give yourself permission to step up. But you mentioned in there, like, the whole safety versus growth.
Yeah.
And I think this is so relevant for this year, because because there's been so much stress, and uncertainty, when we're in the unknown, when we're in uncertainty of the future, when we're in stress, our choices narrow,
Mm-hmm.
we're not in growth.
Yeah.
And we become all about safety.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this year that's happened an awful lot. And the thing that's kind of knocked people off their legs is that for a lot of people, if you've been comfortable and that equals safety,
Yeah.
then suddenly you haven't been comfortable because you've been nudged out of your comfort zone in one way or the other. Your safety's gone.
Well, it's not really, it's perceived to be gone, because the truth is it's not truly, it's all a mind trick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But your perceived safety is gone, and that's why people have spiraled into anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's been a big thing this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's getting to that. I love to get to that. Like, what's the truth behind things? And
Yeah.
you're so right. The truth is that you were never safe in the first place, and that life can change anytime.
Yeah.
So it's the perceived comfort.
Well,
so I think a conscious choice to leave behind the need for certainty in absolutely everything.
Yeah.
To push, it helps to give ourselves that permission to grow, because sometimes we don't want to, because we want the comfort and the safety. And
it's human nature.
as it's even more a thing, because we're building that safety for our children.
Yeah. And this is a huge topic, and one that I am ultimately passionate about, Sally, because when we look at safety as a topic, we could say ultimately we were never safe, or ultimately we've always been safe. I think that safety is a mindset. And when we are at the lower level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where it's the physiological, the shelter, and then the love and belonging, the perception that we don't have that we don't fit in, that our job could be lost, and all of those things is terribly threatening for some people. This is why I think it's the rise of the entrepreneur right now, because I'm in charge of my business. I'm in charge. And so I'm instead playing at this level of self-esteem and self-actualization, where safety is not, my safety hasn't felt threatened at all this year. And I actually think that in fact, my clients have had their best year in business ever. Like 2020 has been our best year in business ever because of the industry we're in. And we went, wow. I mean, I have 2 Airbnb properties. I run an event center. I host workshops and events. And so when COVID hit, trust me, I wrote a piece about choosing not to eat the apple. Don't bite the poison apple. And I thought, you know what? If anyone's going to start freaking out, I'm primed. Yeah. The apple is there. I have 2 Airbnb properties that fund the mortgages that they're on. I have an event center that's just been shut down, and I have all my events plus my overseas retreat literally cancelled. And I said to myself, Jodie, you pivot. That's the word of 2020, freaking pivot. Everybody get your pivot shoes on. And so I also had 20 new students that enrolled in a program with me to learn how to build the business of their dreams. And then the world shuts freaking down, and they started to freak out. So here's what I did. I stepped up. I jumped in and I said, ladies, we are doing a life raft expedition. And I did an intensive 6-week daily show up. And I said to them, I want to encourage you, and I'm going to hold your hand every step of the way, to choose not to shrink, but instead to shine. And I aligned it with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I said, you are safe. Just remind yourself, settle down the amygdala every day. You are safe. You are safe. It's the choices you make. It's the thoughts that you hold that will have you experience it one way or the other. You know what happened? They freaking shone like crazy and had their best year in business ever. But I think sometimes we need to be challenged to not shrink as women in business.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. And that comes back to the choice at the end of the day. Things around us, external circumstances are changing, but we always have a choice whether we stress or whether we remain in a different mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you so much. Jodie, I'm going to ask you the 3 questions that I'm asking everybody. I know that you've been on some today, so you're prepared.
Yeah.
Reconnecting. This is what this summit's about. Reconnect, reset, and rejuvenate. What, whom are you going to be reconnecting with these holidays?
You know what? I'm going to be reconnecting with the man in my life, my beautiful landscaper. He and I are building an extension at the moment, and we have worked, and I've got a prop event centre here that's being renovated. And so this year we have worked very long hours in our businesses and in our lives, and we've disconnected because he's up most nights. So he and I are reconnecting. The family is reconnecting, and I'm just so delighted. Reconnecting with my girlfriends. You know, I love my clients so much, they become my besties, and I tend to neglect my friends sometimes. It's like I get that cup filled with my clients.
Well, you've been busy this year. You've had a rocking year. So that's okay. And now it's playtime.
Yeah, playtime.
Resetting. What or how are you going to reset?
I'm resetting the whole damn business. I'm a creator by nature, and I come up with too many ideas and start too many things too often. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at all of the events that we ran last year, all of the programs that I've done, the content that I've taught, and I'm just resetting it. I'm doing the weeding thing, you know, back to the garden, plucking out the stuff that is just not aligned with the 80-20 principles, that's not low effort, high reward. And I'm resetting my events calendar for 2020 and resetting my mind around how I'm going to show up for my clients as well.
Perfect. There's a lot in there. Awesome.
Yeah.
And rejuvenate. How are you going to rejuvenate these holidays?
Yeah, so the beautiful man, Jace, actually brought me for my birthday a 3-night getaway at a really cool place here called Sticky Rice. And it's a beautiful villa where you can stay, but they do really gourmet cooking classes as well. So we are having these deluxe cooking classes and staying 3 nights in this beautiful holiday villa that's like Bali style. And yeah, that's my rejuvenation.
I love that you've brought Bali, but there you go, full circling again. You were after, when the man comes, you'll go to Bali and you're off.
Yeah. We're doing it in Adelaide instead. Yeah.
And your final thing I want to ask you, what would be your top tip, whether it's a tip or whether it's a top question that you think women should be asking themselves right now to help them with that reconnect, reset, rejuvenate piece? What's the most important thing, do you think, for them to ask themselves now or to do right now?
I think that the most important thing for women to do in business is not make the same 3 massive mistakes I see women making in business all the time. It's very quick and easy. I'll give you them. Number 1, pricing. Please don't underprice your stuff. Number 2, your program design. Please don't believe that it should be based on hours. It should instead be based on results and value. And number 3, your positioning. Please don't be the jack of all trades. You know, I say to my clients, don't be a jack. Like, don't be a jack, ladies. You be an expert. You be right at the top of the value hierarchy, the hierarchy of value. And so I would say, women, just don't make those 3 mistakes, because I see it every day. Even when we know, price yourself high, position yourself at the top of the hierarchy, and design high value programs. You only need 1 to make 6 figures. Don't make those mistakes.
That is gold advice. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So yeah, such sound advice. So I would love it again. Yeah, Jen, we all are.
So I see it all the time, Jen, all the time.
Let's take one last time to please, Jodie's given us so much here. What is the takeaway? What's the thing that you heard that's going to make a difference in your life? What are you going to implement, or what was the big lesson that you got from Jodie? I'd love you to just take a second and share with us. It's going to help you as well as us, and we love to hear. So we've got here, yeah, Jen put before, I agree, most women are pleasers.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abby's saying, I love the pivoting references because I used to play basketball. Oh, you do play basketball. Such sound advice, exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you, Jodie.
My pleasure, Sonia.
Sonia said, yeah, don't underprice and undervalue your services. We do, don't we? We undervalue because we don't want to ask as well. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's harder to sell a cheap thing than it is an expensive thing, I think. I always struggle with the cheap stuff to sell. It's actually easier to sell high value stuff if you do it right.
And Abby's agreeing with you and saying when she was working with art commissions, she did this a lot. I'm guessing the whole undervaluing, underpricing. Yeah, totally. Okay, well, thank you, Jodie. I wish you an amazing holiday season, resetting, rejuvenating, connecting with your man, going to Chinese Bali, or
it's just up the road. It's local Bali here in Adelaide.
And thank you for your time today. I know you're so busy here, so I really, really appreciate your time, and I wish you all the best. And
my pleasure.
Sending so much love your way.
Thank you so much, Sally. And I really appreciate all of the energy you've put into bringing these women together. I feel absolutely honored to have been part of this. So I'm super grateful for you. Thank you all for being here, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jodie. We will connect in the new year. Avery's waving to us. Thank you, Avery, for being here. And everybody's saying thank you in the chat. So, yeah, thank you.
2021. Yeah.
Love. Yeah, here's to creating the most amazing 2021 individually and together as women in this world. Let's step up and out. Give ourselves permission to step up and out and make next year, consciously decide to make next year the best year we're going to have.
I'm going to choose it. Thank you, Sally.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for joining us over the last few days. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful holidays. Any questions, things that come up, you know where to find us. So sending lots of love your way wherever you are. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you.